Yeah, I think, really huge pickups for us, guys that we'd invested a long time in. These weren't guys we just started recruiting. These are guys we've kind of known for over the last year. And all three guys are in position of need, in my opinion, of our program, especially the two defensive linemen, Matt and Ray are guys that not only are good players, but they're elite leaders off the field, guys that have really unique stories, how they've gotten to where they've gotten, and two guys that have a chance to be huge immediate impact players in the program. And then obviously on the offensive side, getting another big play threat, an outside receiver that can do just about everything in terms of route running, ability to go get the football. And again, those are young men that we've invested greatly with our time and effort in recruiting those guys, and to get them mid-year and be able to come in, I think it immediately helps our football team.
Well, the Matt Leo, obviously a guy from Australia, hasn't played much football. Is there almost more potential there because he probably still has a ton to learn?
I think Matt's situation is here's a young man that decides after high school that he goes and plays professionally rugby. And some of those young men from his rugby team had come over to the United States and really made it professionally and collegiately to play the game of football. And so Matt decides to follow that route. Comes over to the United States with about $12,000 in his pocket, pays for his first year of junior college football, and then gets on scholarship the second year. And he's a guy that played a lot of football, was on the team as a freshman, kind of learning the game. And then this past year, you just see his film, and it just every game gets better and better and better. He's got really good technique. Plays with a relentless effort, and those are things that really were impressive to us. But Coach Golishin went out and saw him practice last spring, and I think came away really, really impressed. That's why we offered him last spring, and really just started to develop a great relationship with Matt. So I do think there's a lot of growth in his potential going forward, but I think you already see, the amount of growth he's been able to make. And not talking about a young man, you're talking about a 22, 23-year-old person that, is a guy that's already got great ability and just continue to be fun to watch his development for sure.
When did he first pop on your radar?
Yeah, like I said, it really probably, last April and May is when we first went out and saw him. And beginning, when we were able to go out 1st of April, went out to see him, and then I think Coach Rasheed maybe went again last May, last time we could contact him. So, that's when we officially offered him, and then, really started to develop a relationship with him since that point. And, Matt's an incredible story. I think his story is just getting ready to be told, but what he's done, sacrifice, his family and his time to go away from everybody and, move across the world to chase his passion. I think those are things that are really exciting. He's got a great work ethic about him.
When did you feel like you realistically had a shot at him? Because I know he was committed to Arizona.
Yeah, I don't know. He had a great visit here. Came for the San Jose State game. Really hit it off. I think personally with myself, Coach Rasheed, Coach Golish, have really spent a lot of time, before that, just getting to know somebody. But it's hard over the phone when you really don't have a chance to see him. But I'll tell you, the 48 hours he was on campus were really special, and we just clicked. And so I think our relationship really strengthened through the time that he came here till really the end. And again, he had a lot of great options, but I think it was our investment, and I think his belief in not only ourselves, but what he saw that day and, where this program's heading, that really made his decision to come here, and I appreciate that.
Were you surprised that he chose you guys at the end? They had a lot of, like you said, a lot of competition, a lot of good offers.
Well, between him and Ray and probably every school in the country at the end of this whole thing, and between those two guys, you appreciate their belief in our vision, because right now it's a vision, and I think you saw some positives of how we played at the end of the season, but I think it's a vision and a belief in who we are as coaches, and you do appreciate that. The guys have great options, but again, I said this from the day I got here. We're not backing down from anybody in recruiting. We're going to go up because that's how you win. You win with great players. And, my big thing, though, on top of great players, you need great character young men, guys that understand it and get it. And I think Ames is a really special place, and we've got a great fan base, and you want people that would represent our fan base that way as well. So, that's something that's always been a priority for us. And with those three guys, you couldn't ask for anything better in terms of getting the whole package, not just really good football players, but guys that are going to be great leaders in our program and off the field too.
Was the defensive line the top priority for you?
Yeah, I think it has to be. You know, for our program to get where we want to go, the offense and defensive line are critical for us to continue to rebuild and build not only, you know, good players, but depth across the board. And, you know, it just, I don't care what you are or where you're at. You know, the Alabamas and Ohio States of the world win because their offense and defensive line in the third and fourth quarter of games take over. And obviously, that's an area we got to continue to build and continue to get to that point. So, you know, to get some guys to bridge the gap with obviously the rest of the young men that come in this freshman class and what we already have here, it's got to continue to be a priority. And to be honest with you, here at Iowa State, that's going to be a priority with us, is kind of rebuilding that aspect of our program, because I think, you know, if you can do that, then you always got a chance to win football games.
What does Ray bring to the table compared to some of the guys that you had this past season? Obviously, a little taller and longer.
Yeah, I think Ray's got everything you want in an interior defensive lineman. He's got elite twitch. He's got really good length. You know, 6'3" almost. He's got really good wingspan. But I think the best thing about Ray Lima is who Ray Lima is. And again, he's a guy that he's got every factor in terms of leadership. He plays with elite effort. He's a guy that loves the game of football, really passionate about what he does. He's got the ability to win the one-on-one pass rush inside, but yet he's so big and strong and physical that he's a really good run defender. And you know, Ray was fortunate, you know, where he's a 3-for-3, so he's a guy that you're going to get for the next 3 years, which I think is exciting for all of us to have a guy like that around. It's almost like getting a high school player. And, you know, he's a guy that has all those intangibles. Really, again, another incredible story. You know, just a young man from a really neat family, a really neat background. How he's gotten to this point is really impressive. So he brings a lot of intangibles and was almost a must-need for this football program, and it was a huge gift for us.
Are you looking at all three to not just contribute right away, but fight for playing time right away?
Well, yeah, I think you bring a guy in mid-year, you bring a guy, all three of these guys that have got experience so far. It's not like these freshman guys that are coming in that maybe haven't had that experience, but I think it gives them a leg up. You know, again, this is so different than, you know, a year ago, you know, we're recruiting mid-year guys on 2 or 3 weeks. You know, these guys are guys we've invested a whole year in, and I think we really have an understanding of who they are, what their makeup is. Can they come in here and compete? And there are positions that we need them to come in and compete. So, you know, I think from that standpoint of it, you know, I do expect them to be able to come in. Through the spring, we'll be able to tell where they're at and what they're doing. But I think they're really good pieces to what we already have and what we've already been able to develop, you know, through the winter or through the fall this past season.
Is Eaton another guy that kind of bridges the gap? You know, he replaces maybe the size of Dondre Daly, and I know he's a guy that I told me that he had schools come on late to try to flip him too.
Yeah, let me tell you, last Wednesday wasn't the most comfortable day to be the head coach here, but you know, to be able to hit on all three guys was incredible. And you know, the reality was, you know, Matt's one of those guys that I think when you really get to see Matt, I think you're all going to be really impressed. He's 6'4", he's an elite route runner. You know, played in for his standpoint, went with somebody that he knew is in terms of his position coach, but didn't play on the best junior college team that can maybe showcase his skill set. But I think when you see his skill set and his ability, Matt's the best player we saw last year in our recruiting board at the wide receiver position. And I think you're going to see why really fast, because he's got elite size. He can go up and get the football. He's a great route runner. And again, I think he's just another guy that can come in and really stretch the field vertically for you and kind of be a go-to guy. And you know, when you have that in different places, now it's not just one guy getting the ball all the time. And, you know, Deshaunte kind of opened some things up for us in the middle of the field and took some pressure off of Allen. And to have another guy that you can really invest in and trust in. And, you know, we got Hakeem, who really started to come on at the end of the season, which could be exciting for us. And then, you know, to get Matt in there too. Now all of a sudden you got a chance to really have depth, and you got some guys that the ball can spread around to. And I think as you see, Jacob's the kind of quarterback that he's going to take who's open. And so I think that really helps him as well.
Matt